Shannon Sharpe issued a strong warning to Canelo Alvarez about facing Terence Crawford, suggesting that the fight could end disastrously for Canelo. He emphasized Crawford's superior speed, skill, and stamina, implying that the bout could be more than just a loss that might mark the end of Canelo's dominance in the boxing world. Canelo, in response, revealed he now has a retirement plan, reflecting on his 20-year professional career. He admitted that after so many years in the ring, the urge to explore life beyond boxing is growing stronger, and sometimes he simply wants to do something different with his time.
Has retirement ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about that?
I always say like 37 is good time to go. It's not because I can't be in the boxing anymore, but you know, sometimes you need to do something else. So in October I turned 20 years as a professional fighter. So it's meant a lot of years. So
Eddie Hearn, Canelo Alvarez's longtime promoter and close insider, has sparked fresh speculation by suggesting that the upcoming fight with Terence Crawford could be Canelo's final bout. According to Hearn, the Mexican superstar may be nearing the end of his legendary journey, and the Crawford challenge might be the ultimate test that signals his retirement. Hearn's comments carry weight. He has been with Canelo through various phases of his career and understands the physical and mental toll the sport has taken on him. With nearly 2 decades in the ring, Canelo may be looking to close his chapter against one of the most technically gifted boxers of this era.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age, like life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I would be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's gonna have to take. I bet he retires after that fight.
Canelo's recent performances, especially against John Ryder and more notably William Scope, have raised concerns for Hearn. He observed signs of aging, slower combinations, diminished head movement, and a noticeable drop in punching power. The once feared explosiveness that defined Canelo's prime appears to have faded. Bernie, a close member of Crawford's team, expressed strong confidence in Terence's ability to defeat Canelo. He went beyond calling Crawford great. He called him a legend. Surprisingly, support among Mexican fans has started to shift. While Canelo remains a national icon, even some loyal supporters are beginning to lean toward Crawford, drawn by his skill, momentum, and hunger. Bernie highlighted how Crawford's performances have earned global respect. Even Canelo's base acknowledges how dangerous Bud is. When admiration crosses borders like this, it speaks volumes about the legacy Terence Crawford is building.
Yeah. Hey, the man said that was both good. Say not gonna beat you. I'm telling you, I guarantee I'm gonna beat you. So you know what I'm saying? That's how Crawford is. That's how he feels. He believes in his heart. And you can tell it. You can look at him in his eyes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people believe that Crawford will win this fight. And a lot of Mexican people.
Yeah, they're supporting him. They're supporting him.
A lot of Mexican people. You know, so they got their formula why Crawford's gonna beat him. But it's a tremendous fight. I think Canelo, like I say, is a legend. You know, everything that he do. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of Mexicans That's the how it come around full circle. If God got it for you, nobody can be against you. And so I think he's the most deserving fighter of that outside of Benavidez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides that, but Benavidez still doesn't bring the super fight dynamic to it. It's a really good fight with Benavidez, but this is a super fight. We have legends fighting. David Benavidez has yet to become a legend. He's still growing in the sport. Crawford is a legend. 14 years in the sport, 10 years as champion, 11 years going on. You understand? Undisputed 2 different times, fighter of the year, all those different things. So, like I say, the mystique of Crawford is legend in itself. The mystique of Crawford. So, I mean, you know, so it's a super fight. Again, I thank you, Canelo Alvarez, for taking the fight.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik offered a blunt and honest assessment of the matchup. Contrary to popular belief, he described Crawford as the stronger and more effective fighter in the ring. Pavlik praised Crawford's raw talent, tactical control, and physical dominance. More telling was his critique of Canelo. He believes Canelo has recently been fighting conservatively, not aiming to dominate or knock out opponents, but simply trying not to lose. This approach may not be sufficient against someone as hungry and dynamic as Crawford. Pavlik drew a sharp contrast. One man is climbing toward greatness, while the other is trying to hold on.
Class, he's a great fighter. That's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fight guys coming down from 200 probably, light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. The guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. I'm just saying, guys, nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one, not worrying about anybody, saying, you're wrong or talking. But it'll be a good one.
Renowned trainer Robert Garcia added fuel to the conversation, agreeing that Canelo has noticeably shifted away from seeking aggressive knockouts. Garcia stated plainly, Canelo is tired. Having turned pro as a teenager, Canelo has carried the grind of boxing for nearly 20 years. The precision and calculated risks of his earlier career have given way to a more cautious style, likely designed to preserve energy and minimize damage. Garcia's comments aren't a criticism, they're an acknowledgement of the wear and tear Canelo has endured. He's been through wars, carried the sport on his shoulders, and now the cost is becoming visible in the ring.
Why is it that Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga but not Canelo?
Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same against Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then didn't want to finish with Charlo. Berlanga, he wants to cruise to the fight. He's up there, not in age, because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's fighting since 15, a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches, so all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too, so he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't, I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believed he had.
Popular analyst Showbiz the Adult described the Canelo versus Crawford fight as potentially historic. Defeating Canelo, one of boxing's biggest global icons, would catapult Terence Crawford to legendary status. At this point, it's no longer just about titles. It's about legacy. However, Showbiz also highlighted the dark side of greatness. If Crawford wins convincingly, conspiracy theories might emerge, questioning how a smaller fighter could outclass someone like Canelo. In today's social media age, greatness often breeds suspicion. The bigger the victory, the louder the noise. For Crawford, this fight could be the pinnacle of his career and the start of a narrative battle he'll have to face afterward.
Is going to attempt to do something that is so incredible, so magnificent, so amazing as a fighter and for his legacy.
calling him a drug cheat.
Veteran sports commentator Stephen A. Smith, known for his candid takes, predicted that Terence Crawford would win the fight on points. Smith cited Crawford's discipline, ring IQ, and control of tempo as key factors that could lead to a unanimous decision victory over the larger but slower Canelo. He noted that while Canelo remains dangerous, his output in recent fights has dropped, whereas Crawford thrives in long, tactical battles. A 12-round decision win would not only secure the fight, but also solidify Crawford's status as one of the greatest fighters of the modern era.
You got a love for boxing. There's love on the fight, man. That's coming up.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating, Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him. That's right. When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud, right? It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot. That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Javante Davis' trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage. Canelo is naturally big and strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger. And I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight. And Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always
prepared.
He's always ready. He's always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's fast. But I don't think he's gonna knock him.
Terence Crawford expressed calm confidence ahead of the bout, acknowledging Canelo's size and pressure tactics. However, he remains unfazed, clearly prepared for all scenarios. His mindset reflects both respect for Canelo and a deep belief in his own adaptability. This balance of humility and intense focus is what sets Crawford apart in today's boxing landscape.
And I'm feeling good. You know, work has been going great. And, you know, fight time, we're gonna be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So, I didn't really know. But, you know, thanks to Turkey, obviously, he made it possible. And, you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, you know, box a little bit, but I also expect him, you know, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, you know, we expect everything in there.
Antonio, another member of Team Crawford, revealed that Terence already has a detailed game plan in place, one designed to exploit every perceived weakness in Canelo's current form. According to Antonio, Crawford is preparing both physically and strategically. He knows when to shift gears, when to counter, and when to apply pressure. Still, Antonio gave Canelo his due, noting that the Mexican legend still has a chance, but only if he fights with the same urgency and explosiveness he showed in the Caleb Plant fight. That version of Canelo aggressive and relentless mind have a shot. Anything less, and Crawford's execution could be too much to handle.
Terence got to be Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how it ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizes in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's gonna have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terence Crawford. Cause weight ain't gonna make the difference. It ain't gonna be the weight, it's gonna be the skill set.
In a surprising twist, Canelo Alvarez himself praised Terence Crawford in an interview, placing him above some of the most iconic names in boxing history. Coming from someone who fought Floyd Mayweather, who was promoted by Oscar de la Hoya, this praise carries deep significance. It suggests that Canelo doesn't just see Crawford as another opponent, but possibly as his successor in boxing greatness. It also hints at Canelo's awareness that this fight will be unlike any other he's faced before.
The best fighter he has ever faced. He says that he believes that Terence Bud Crawford is better than legendary Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins, Oscar de la Hoya. There's no shot there. Tito Trinidad. But the shot came in when he said that he believes he is definitely better than Russian superstar undisputed light heavyweight world champion who beat Canelo Alvarez. I thought pretty handily, 9 rounds to 3. I thought 10 rounds to 2, but 9 rounds to 3 at worst. He beat Canelo Alvarez and Dimitri Bivol. And then he said that, but this is not a shocker, he said this before, that Terence Crawford is better than Floyd Mayweather. Now, I personally don't believe that. I believe that Floyd Mayweather is a better fighter. But nonetheless, Terence Crawford is a great in his own right. But this just goes to show that Canelo Alvarez has learned something, a thing or two from Floyd Mayweather. He showed some things he took from Floyd Mayweather from their fight, which he lost every single round of. A 36-year-old going on 37-year-old Floyd Mayweather. In 2013, he lost every single round to Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather always build up his opponents. Always. Okay? He always build up his opponents. He never tear down his opponents. He learns. If you tear down your opponent, how you get credit for your opponent? For the win.
If he's able to be aggressive, not be affected by Bud's punches, and just keep, attacking and imposing that will on him, and then Bud being the dog that he is, and just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go, I'm letting loose.